Back in the early 2000s, the WWE game Shut Your Mouth was released on the PlayStation 2. Now, this is one of my favorite wrestling games of all time, because of the story mode, and what felt like a pure, unadulterated freedom. You had to be able to do pretty much whatever the fuck you wanted. Back when the developers had to actually put all the content on the disc. You know? The good old days. But at some point in the timeline, the story mode became less and less important, eventually evolving the game into your generic sports game that comes out once a year. You see, I miss the crazy gameplay. I miss being able to run outside of the arena. But above all else, I miss the story mode. You know the one, right? Starting off on Sunday Night Heat and working your way up to the main roster. It was a lot of fun. It would travel the path of whoever you were playing as through years and years of their own career. And there wasn't any of that horrible voice acting either.
You were almost a Jill sandwich.
Except for maybe the announcers. That was about it. And it also felt like the game never ended. You could just keep going on and on and on. Eventually, things recycled. But it'd be with different people, and I don't know, it just felt fresh and fun. I didn't get bored of that game. I miss it. But now look at what we have. Oh, God. Now that being said, the controls and gameplay have actually improved over the years. The controls feel more responsive and the graphics are super realistic. It's gorgeous. But just because a game looks good and feels good doesn't mean it actually is good. It doesn't matter how many times you polish up that turd. A turd is still a fucking turd. So that's my opinion on what the WWE games have been missing over the years. The story mode. Now I know they've been adding story modes back into the games as of late, but they are a shallow form of what they used to be. Feels like a husk of a game now. Somewhere along the line, they must have thought that degenerating the story mode would have equaled out with improving the gameplay. I'm sorry. It didn't. So, what if? What if the developers actually took the time to create an interesting and intricate story mode? Something like they used to have back in the day. Not something you can beat in a day or two. I'm talking about like a real story mode. Something with a lot of fucking meat and potatoes to it. You know? Something that's gonna last you a long time. Let's say from when you graduate wrestling school to all the way finally headlining the main event. WrestleMania. And I don't mean just be part of WrestleMania. Oh no, I mean actually headlining that motherfucker. Headlining WrestleMania. But before we get into that, what was the turning point? When did the game become something so lackluster and boring? Well, in my opinion, the downfall began the moment they started SmackDown vs. Raw. This is where they started adding all that horrible voice acting, and making the story mode extremely lackluster. Instead of it continuing on and on and on, you now pretty much had an endgame. The story mode became very, very linear and just not fun. It kinda held your hand and directed you where to go, only allowing you to deviate from the path every now and then when it allowed you to. It essentially handcuffed you to a railing, not allowing you to explore or do anything at all. So, what would they have to do? Or should I say, what would I do in their shoes? Now, I'm not going to really talk about the entire game in general. I'm mainly focusing on the story mode. Every now and then I might discuss about something that could be used in another function of the game, but for the most part, story mode it is. Mainly because that's my biggest gripe with the franchise as of late, the story mode. So, let's talk about my WWE game called The Road to Gold. Cliche, I know, but hey, It's wrestling. The world starts black. All you can hear are distant voices and loud bangs. Eventually, you start to hear cheering and people talking amongst the moans, groans, and bashes. Scenes of iconic matches float on by through the darkness as you begin to hear the announcers talk about some of the most famous feuds of all time. Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan, Razor Ramon versus Shawn Michaels, Mankind versus The Undertaker. You'll hear cheering. Louder. 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 As the cheering becomes louder and louder, you start to hear an annoying beeping sound. It's louder and louder and closer and closer. You cannot escape the annoying noise that is becoming your ever-waking dream. Till finally, it's your alarm clock and you wake the fuck up. Now, as your world comes into focus, you start to see the apartment complex that your character is living in. And boy, is it a shitty-ass apartment. 2 rooms and a closet. You have a kitchen that is also attached to your living room, which is also your bedroom, and off to the side, a bathroom. Yay, poverty! The walls are cracked, the windows are taped, and the carpet is discolored. Behold your kingdom. Now this is where the game is going to prompt you to get up and start interacting with objects around your apartment. It'll start you off by telling you how to interact with your alarm clock first. You know, shutting off that annoying buzzing noise. As that crazy ass ear-piercing noise gets shut off, your character will stand up out of bed. You'll be able to look around and explore this tiny ass apartment. Everything's going to be right in front of you in first person view. It's not going to be FPS through the entire game, obviously. You're not going to be wrestling in first person. But for the most part, when you're traveling around and exploring, you will be in first person view to be able to communicate with NPCs and explore the areas around you. Think of it this way. It's almost like a Fallout or an Elder Scrolls game. Of course, you could play the entire game in third person. Obviously, you can. But FPS is right where you want to be, especially for exploration. So let's go back over to the apartment and discuss some of the things you'll be able to interact with. Because there's a lot of them, and I really hope this hits home some of the things you'll be able to interact with in the actual world itself.
Get ready for immersion! Opening drawers! Holy shit! Turning on the sink! It's like I'm fucking there! Opening the refrigerator! I'm swallowing my sadness! Picking up your dirty laundry! I can almost hear my mom nagging at me to pick up my underwear!
Going over to the refrigerator, you can open it up, and when you do, you'll see an apple, a bottle of water, and a carton of milk. Each item you'll be able to interact with and inspect. You can sniff the milk, eat the apple, drink the water, stuff like that. So then what? Well, after that, you go into the bathroom and you can stand in front of the mirror. This is where you're going to be able to start building your character for the story mode that's about to happen. Now don't fret, because you're actually going to have access to your character in all the other different modes. There's just going to be 2 separate files for this guy. One file will be for story mode. The other file will be for, well, everything else. So when looking into the mirror, you can shape your face, change the color of your skin, and even get a rocking hairstyle on your head or on your chin. After that, you can head over the scale and choose your body type. This is probably where you're going to be able to distinguish what type of wrestler you're going to be. From lightweight all the way to super heavyweight, this will determine the type of moves that will be available to you when you're learning how to create your character and their own unique fighting style. As you could probably figure out all by yourself, wrestlers like Rey Mysterio have a completely different attribute set than Braun Strowman. So, I wasn't joking. This scale is literally going to determine the type of wrestler you are going to be. Now, once you hop on, you're going to be met with a bunch of different choices. Choices such as Luchador, Powerhouse, Submission Expert, and a slew of other options that will give you a different preset body type. After you choose a selection, you get to morph your body. You know, typical wrestling game stuff. You'll also be able to add things like tattoos, blemishes, and scars upon your body in order to really hit home who you're trying to make. You know what? While we're on this topic, I also really like the idea of being able to build and create your own tattoos for your character from scratch, using different shapes and colors in order to get the look that you want. Towards the end, you... let's try that again. Towards the end, you compress the image and put it on your character's body just like a tattoo. Now, this is probably something that's going to be used in the editor mode and whatnot, but I think it should definitely be there. So after that, what's next? Well, how about a tutorial? You gotta know how to play the game, right? Nobody reads those little booklets anymore. So after you create, well, you go to your closet, get clothing on, get your car keys, and then head out the door. Thus begins the tutorial. So this tutorial will do a lot to show you how to play the game quickly, giving you reasons to actually do all the actions that it's going to prompt you to do. So after you leave that door, the intro music starts playing. The name of the game pops up, and then a cutscene of you pulling into a parking lot to your local wrestling school plays out. You're finally here. You get out of your car, walk into the building, interact with objects and people. You see, if you haven't picked up on it yet, this is where you're going to find out that you are a silent protagonist. You don't have a voice. Well, that's fine, because sometimes being a silent protagonist gives you better options. You see, you would have an onslaught of options available to you when you're interacting with the people. Each option will give you a different path to be able to take in your dialogue tree. You will have neutral, heal, and face answer slots guiding you down the path that best suits you. As you speak, you gain reputation, which will change how the NPCs interact with you altogether. Some options will actually give you a percentage meter as well, giving you the odds on success when you're speaking with certain people. So, after learning how to interact with people, something I never learned how to do, you can learn how to wrestle! Yay! Oh, J-Boss, no more tutorials. I know how to wrestle. Give me a moment. I know, I don't like tutorials either. However, they can be helpful and sometimes important. So, let's go through the motions. It's not going to teach you everything, some of the stuff you can learn on your own. But, it'll teach you the basics, teaching you step by step on how to perform in the ring and interact with objects. Once you pass the class, it's now time to jump into the story. So let's fast forward a couple of years, and you are now working on the indie circuit. Still living in your shitty apartment, this will be your base of operations. So to break it down nice and simple, I envision this place as being pretty much your central hub. Your cell phone and your email are where you're going to be getting information and missions. Missions? Yup! Missions! So let's start out with this scenario. You get a phone call from a fellow friend who is also a wrestler. He's asking you to come down to the cafe so he could talk to you in private. Now this isn't exactly what would be in my version, but it's a thought, so just bear with it for a wee bit. So you can either accept the mission and go, check other missions on your voicemail or email, or kill time until the next wrestling match occurs, but by that time, that mission might be gone. But let's say you decide that you want to go and see what your buddy is in need of. So, what do? Grab your keys and go out. The moment you exit the door, the gigantic map pops up in front of you and asks you, well, where's the location you wish to go in? Why a map? Well, this isn't Grand Theft Auto. It's not a gigantic open world that you can travel around. There is no massive city.
Fuck this, I'm out!
Before you leave in a hizzy, let me explain. It's a wrestling game. It's not an open world massive MMORPG type of deal. It's a wrestling game. Making a massive city would take away from what the game is. A wrestling game. So, simplify the map. Let's shrink it down. Give you a lot of locations to go to, obviously. But there's no need for a gigantic, massive open world for this game. So when you decide on the location that you want to go to, which will be on the map showing all the available missions to you after you listen or read them via the email, you can click on it. It will then load up the location showing you a small cutscene of your car puttering up to a parking spot of some sort. Now, even though this place is not an open world sandbox, there will be a lot of places that you'll be able to go around and each location to be able to explore and shop. So, you hit a little button, check out your phone, it says that your friend is at the cafe. What do? Well, you find him and interact with him, sitting in front of him, ordering a coffee, and hearing what the guy has to say. Now you have a boatload of different options that you can choose from when you're speaking to this person, either being very sincere and kind, or extremely sarcastic and an asshole. This is where your reputation is going to start making it visible, with the way that this person is going to interact with you. In this instance, he's going to tell you that he needs a tag team partner for the upcoming match because his buddy just came down with the flu. So you can decide whether you want to take the mission or leave him on his own devices. If you do take the mission, there's a possibility that you can end up in some hot water later on, or save him from himself. Maybe he talks too much trash, and there's a boatload of people looking to get at him, and now you're in the way. Maybe there's just one jackass that's looking to step on him in order to get higher up in the company, and you need to take him down a few pegs. See? Missions. That is why your apartment will be your central hub. Now there are going to be 4 different types of missions available to you. There's going to be the gray missions, which are, well, neutral missions. Blue and red missions, which are face and heel missions. And then purple missions, which are, well, they're used to help change your alignment as you progress to the story mode. Missions that would be available to a heel would not be necessarily available to a person that's a face. Performing these missions will help you follow the path that you really want to follow. Neutral, face, or heel. I keep saying it because it's really important, because each one will give you different reputation. Now, missions won't revolve around just fighting in the ring, but also revolve around your character's life in general. This isn't just a wrestling game. This is about surviving and growing. Eating the right food, exercising at the gym, constantly improving your character, constantly getting more fan base. That's another thing we need to go over. Fan base. When you first start out, nobody's gonna know who you are. However, as you get more and more famous, people on the streets are more likely to approach you and interact with you. Interactions will include things such as autographs, looking to just say hi, or even maybe trying to pick a fight with you. So we'll go over fan base a little bit more later on, but keep in mind, fans are very important. So, let's get back on topic. Missions! Missions will help you get money and experience for your character to help increase your stats and livelihood. It will also help open up new event trees that would not necessarily be available to you if you didn't do prior missions before that. Let's take your friend from before, for instance, the one that needed your help for the tag team. Now say you didn't accept that mission, and he got his ass beat because you didn't answer him or just flat out told him no. You could lose him later on as a valuable ally, turning him against you, making him probably a rival. Now, obviously, you're only one person. You're not going to be able to help every single person that comes to you. So you're going to have to make decisions to see which is the best route for you to take.
But J-Bars, How will you be able to level up your character?
Well, thank you for asking, little Timmy.
So let's take a little look at this. Remember when I said your fan base was going to be important? Well, what if you gained experience from your fans? As you wrestle, your actions will produce fans. Moves, taunts, interactions with the fans, and winning or losing matches will all produce fans. So, let's start with moves. You see, each move successfully completed will give you fans cheering for you. Doing a super high powerful power bomb could get you about 75 fan points, which then could be used in order to upgrade your character.
Well, I'm just going to do the power bomb every single time.
Right? Is that what you're saying? Well, that's a boatload of nopes. Because if you become the 5 moves of doom type of person, eventually, fans are going to get bored of you, and you're not going to gain any type of experience points whatsoever. That's right. If you use a specific move too much, and you don't mix it up, the amount of points that you would normally receive for that move will drop drastically each time. This will be incentive to perform new moves, and prevent your character from becoming stale. The same will go for taunts and interactions with the crowd. There will also be missions to perform during the match that will help give you bonuses to your fans, making them excited that you're there and performing, and giving you more points in the end. Like countering a special, or cheating and not getting caught. But what about your finances? You know, the actual muns that will help you get new clothing or tattoos or even trainings. Well, that's easy. You make money by winning or losing matches. Obviously, you make more money by winning. You make a fraction of the amount by losing. But regardless, you still make money. So the money is going to be used for a lot of different things. Purchasing new apartments or even houses, cars, clothing, tattoos, new hairstyles, trainings, and also in-ring equipment. Getting new equipment to change your guy's look will cost a little money. You can also use some of those finances to be able to go to the gym and learn new moves to increase your arsenal to beat down your opponents. Alright, well, you just won a big match and you got a boatload of cash and a boatload of fan points. So what are you going to do with those fan points? Oddly enough, I think Bloodborne and Dark Souls does this pretty well. So let's take a peek at those types of games. You see, Bloodborne and Dark Souls give you a boatload of different attributes to be able to change as you're leveling up. Did you want to be a straight powerhouse with no magical abilities? Or do you want to just be a straight magic user that will have a lot of dexterity? Well, the same concept lies here. While you're at the gym, you can use those fan points in order to increase certain stats of your character. Increasing your strength will give you more damage with every attack you do and give you a slight advantage when you're trying to power through grapples. Dexterity is how fast you can move and how agile you are. This will also help you countering grapples, making it easier for you to get out of a painful mess that you necessarily do not want to be in. Your stamina will determine how many moves you can do in a row and how long you can run. This will also determine how fast your stamina comes back to you. Then you've got your toughness, or your defense, however you want to call it. This is the indication of how much damage you can take before you pretty much lose consciousness. But this one's interesting, because you can add toughness to each limb of your body. Let me explain, before we go on. Say you finally leveled up that meter and you can now add attribute points into toughness. Awesome, good work. You look at it and it says, congratulations, you have received 10 toughness points to be added to your body. You can either evenly distribute them throughout your entire body, or choose a specific limb to get all of those points. The rest of your body won't, but that one specific part of your body will. So you could either do 10 points throughout the entire body, or 10 points to your legs if you feel like your legs are actually more of a vulnerable spot than the rest of your body. You'll also get stats for performance on turnbuckles or high flyer moves. You may even get a hardcore stat that allows you to become more dangerous with weapons. Or how about even a charisma stat? You know, to get more fans? Becoming more charming, per se. You see, there's gonna be a lot of options to really hit home who you want to be. I keep saying that, but it's true. Who do you want to be in this game? Alright. What have we gone over so far? Let's take a look. We've gone over the intro, the tutorial, how your apartment is the central hub, how missions work and how certain missions will have certain outcomes, experience points and how to spend them, and also money. It's a lot of stuff so far. So, what's next? How about we talk about everybody's favorite topic, stamina. I know, I get it. It's not exactly everybody's favorite topic to talk about in wrestling games. As a matter of fact, I'm one of the people that kinda wished it wasn't in the old games, at least the way they did it. You remember how it was, right? Okay, hurry up and hold select and stand awkwardly in the middle of the ring while you're holding your hips, taking a deep breath while the person is on the ground doing absolutely nothing. Riveting. You see, my problem wasn't with having a stamina meter. It was the way they did it that drove me up the fucking wall. Now, before you start smashing that dislike button, give me a moment and I'll explain what I'm trying to get at. You see, in actual wrestling, the stuff that you see on the TV, when the people are performing submissions, this is them taking a break from all the action. This allows them to take a breath, discuss some of the new moves that they're going to be performing, and plan what to do for the next set. So, let's implement something very similar to that. Each move will take out a certain amount of stamina from your character. The lower the stamina, the easier it'll be for the other opponent to counter your move. Also, if you're gasping for air, you're not going to be able to do that crazy ass powerbomb off the top ropes because for some reason your eyes are crossing due to the fact that you have no oxygen in your blood. However, if you perform a submission move to try to damage a certain part of their body, you'll be able to obtain some more of your stamina back. This goes for the person being submitted as well, however, it's going to be even slower. So, it's a little bit of a give and take. Now, if you're looking for a crazy-ass beatdown type scenario, I'm pretty sure turning off the stamina wouldn't hurt the entire experience. But when you're in story mode, I firmly believe that there definitely should be stamina there. Now, obviously, I'm not going to go every single story and what it entails, because honestly, I have no idea. However, it is easy to assume that you have one big main story to follow. That main objective. Headlining WrestleMania. Whether you do it as a face or heel is completely up to you. But, that's your main goal. WrestleMania. And I think that's pretty much it. I know it's not perfect, but hey, it's a start. But this is nowhere near the end of the conversation. Why don't you leave your comments down below? Would you do anything differently? What would it be and why? At any rate, I'm J-Bars. Hey, remember to keep those mugs frosty? And always be safe. Till the next video. Peace.